Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time for the podcast that pulls back the curtain, that dissects the strikes, the submissions, and the controversial decisions. We're coming to you live from the Empty the Bench Network. We are diving deep into the world of mixed martial arts. Get ready for the unfiltered takes, the expert analysis, and the raw, unadulterated passion for the fight game. These are your hosts, two of the most knowledgeable voices in the sport. The one, the only, Zain Bando, and the undisputed, the always insightful, Jack Gold. This is the MMA Outsiders.
What is up, everyone? We are live. This is the MMA Outsiders. I'm Zain Bando. He's Jack Gold. It is Thursday afternoon. It is mid to late February, and it is just after 3 p.m. Eastern. Jack, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. It's a big weekend of fights. I've been waiting for it. We got Gable Stevenson fighting tonight. We've got Fury tomorrow. We've got UFC Saturday. We're rocking and rolling.
Yeah, we're rocking and rolling for sure. Just let's get a few quick reminders out of the way. This is episode 157, and it is being streaming live to a bunch of our different platforms, including the ETV Network YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, Jack Gold's YouTube channel, my Twitter account, the MMA Outsiders Twitter account, as well as Bando's Breakdown to ETV Sports and the ETV Network. So without further ado, let's get into it, and also stay tuned later on, about halfway through the stream. You might end up hearing from a special guest that you may have heard of before, if you know the history of this show, as it dates all the way back to 2022. So just figured I would throw that in there as well. But please be sure to like and subscribe to the Empty the Bench Podcast Network. To do so, youtube.com/ETP Network. And of course, with no further ado, to introduce myself, I'm Zain Bando. I'm a staff writer over at MMA Knockout, and I am pleased to be joined to my right by Jack Gold. Jack Gold is an independent MMA content creator. Jack, anything new or exciting in the pipeline as February is slowly but surely winding down and we transition into March here, man?
Nothing really new. I just want to put it out there because I don't think we're going to be talking about this Fury card right now. My guy, Eduardo Duda Pena, he's fighting tomorrow night. All these 35ers been ducking him. He's fighting Danny Shelton in the 5th fight of the night. I can't wait. It'll be a good time. If you got nothing going on Friday night, make sure to tune in.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that card would be considered a Fight Pass card, right?
Correct.
So yeah, very, very exciting stuff. Please be sure to tune in. And when can people tune into that? When does that card start?
I believe it starts at 5 or 6 p.m. tomorrow night, but I will double check for you. Right this moment, it starts at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central.
Okay. So with that said, there you go. And of course, for those of you who don't know, if you want the OG archive, of course, you can listen to the MMA Outsiders regular podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Acast, and so much more. So we have more of a news day today than anything. Of course, we're going to preview UFC Houston. We'll go over how we did on UFC Vegas 113 as well. We actually have a record correction on my end. I did one fight better on that card, or one fight worse on that card than I had initially anticipated, but still an above 500 record, and a record I will take for sure. So I guess let's get into the show. We're going to start now with just talking about updates, because there's been some stuff going around just in regards to the UFC White House event itself. Who could be headlining it? The UFC has not officially announced anything, but several reporters were saying the same thing. The main event of the evening looks to be Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. Assuming the UFC doesn't go a different direction, the direction that we even talked about yet. What are your early reactions to it? And there's also another layer to this, which we'll get to later on in the stream. But just figured we would talk about this first, as it seems to be continuously circulating really wherever, whichever MMA page of choice you choose to look at. That's what seems to be the general consensus, if you will. And shout out to the 24 people, by the way, that are already in the stream. We appreciate you. We will take your questions for the next 45 minutes to an hour or so. So if you guys have anything, please be sure to drop them in, and we will do our best to answer them.
No, but with this White House card, I think I like it, man. I think people forget what they're doing. I look back at the Sphere, and if you look at the Sphere, the bottom 7 fight, there were 10 fights. The bottom 7 weren't anything crazy. The top 3 were cool. I think it is way more so about the location than it is the fights. Yes, there will be some big fights on the card, but I think the UFC is focusing on the White House rather than the fights. I think we'll have a bunch of Americans on the card. And listen, Ilia versus Gaethje, everybody's writing off Gaethje. I'm kind of writing off Gaethje, but it's guaranteed to be a fun fight.
Well, my question to you is, why would you even remotely consider writing off Gaethje? It's different than not picking him, but why would you write him off considering that he's had a few career resurgences and this may be his last one?
I just like it's the same deal with Hamzat to me, kind of. It's like when a fighter is so good and their one weakness is typically length, and Gaethje doesn't have that. I just don't know how he's gonna hurt or affect Ilia. Like Ilia will let the fight come to him for the first couple minutes, make the read, and cold cock him. And I think Justin, even though he performed well against Patty. Like, he did not look like his typical self. He wasn't as fast. He wasn't as clean.
No, he didn't.
And I think that is a bad sign.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean, if you're going to get Ilya at 100% focused, I don't see how he loses. So
that's Ilya's going to be coming to the press conference like, Justin, she took the kids. I'm sorry. Like, it's just going to be a problem.
Okay. So you think there's going to be some hidden narratives and stuff like that people are going to have to pick up on as it's happening that will need further context and the whole thing? So
I think so.
Okay. And just kind of speaking of this, I mean, we're sitting here. It's February 19, 2026, as I alluded to at the beginning of the stream, and we still don't quite know when they will begin to start announcing these. They don't even know how they're going to announce it. I mean, they even admitted it last Sunday after Zuffa Boxing that they had no idea how they were going to announce this thing. Let's just put our thinking caps on here. I'll let you go first. How do you think they're going to do this reveal? Do you think it's going to be something unbelievable? Do you think it's going to be something in front of a green screen? Do you think it's going to be filmed on a toaster? I mean, what do you think here? I mean, we could go as wild or unimaginable as you want, or as simple as you want. What do you think?
Listen, I'm a gambling man. If I were to bet my money on it, it's going to be a Paramount and UFC collabed Instagram post with the White House in the background, and the first 2 fights are the co-main and main event on the poster. This is your UFC White House main event. No video, no nothing, lazy as shit. But it's what they did with the Sphere. I keep looking back at that. The Sphere is the closest thing to the White House that has ever happened.
See, I completely disagree with you. I completely disagree. It's going to be this unbelievable promo in the middle of either UFC 326 or UFC 327, where there's going to be a pause in the main card, and people are going to be like, "What the heck is happening?" And then the lights will dim, and then the broadcast is going to go full screen, and it's going to be the greatest promo you've ever seen in the history of UFC promos. Period. I like to be an optimist. I think they know that they only have one shot to do this the right way, and they know that if they this up, they're going to be looked at in a different light. So I'm going to go big and bold and say I think it's going to be this promo that no one is going to be expecting, and it's certainly going to be a promo that's not going to be leaked anywhere until the event actually happens. So
I'm doing it based off history. Every big card we've gotten so far is Dana sitting at his desk on an Instagram live stream or an Instagram post. So I'm in the negative, you're in the positive. I hope we land somewhere closer to you than me.
See, I disagree. I think it's going to be a UFC 200 style reveal where we're going to be, oh my God.
I just don't see that happening. As much as they should do that, I just don't see it.
See, I think you're underestimating the past history of what the UFC used to do, and I think you're using your recency bias. And this is no slight at you, but I think you're using your recency bias to base off your answer. And I'm just telling you that I think you need to think a little bit, a little bit bigger than that. They didn't pay $7.7 billion to do this new TV deal without something unbelievable, because they know the spectacle nature of it. That's
well, my question to you, isn't recency bias typically within a year? This has been 7, 8, 9 years of dog shit. So I think you're looking at it like, oh, this guy won the gold medal in his 20s and he's at 40. Can he pull it off? I don't think so.
See, I don't know. I think you're underestimating the power of those three letters a little bit, but we shall see. So I don't know, but what I can tell you is, I think regardless of who's on the card, people are going to be pissed about it. I've seen some cards, some
100%.
hypothetical cards thrown around out there. We spoke about what we think our dream card is going to be based on the recent developments of what we know. Do you think, if you were to guess, do you think it's going to be Islam versus Ian Gary, or do you think it's going to be Islam versus Kamaru? And not on the White House.
He ain't fighting on the White House card, brother. He ain't fighting on that event. That card is going to be headlined by Elia Justin. Islam ain't going to be on it. Poetan's not going to be on it. My best to keep people's expectations tempered, best case scenario, I see a UFC White House main card looking something like Elia Justin, potentially, and I doubt it because Weili is Chinese, Mackenzie Dern versus Weili. Maybe if they go crazy, they throw Tatiana in there for the title.
See, I don't think Mackenzie Weili is happening until International Fight Week the following month.
I agree. This is best case. They have 2 titles. They're going to throw some bullshit together with Colby and Bo for the real American title. So whoever wins that, or Michael Chandler, who cares? So whoever wins that fight, that they could go on fight for that dumb belt, Bo Nickel versus Pyfer. And if Colby wins, if it's Bo Nickel or Michael Chandler, everybody's got to fight. Then you're going to have Derek Lewis versus like Sean Sharaf as the main card opener. And maybe if Stephen Asplin wins on March 14th.
Sean Sharaf? No way, dude. No way. No
or
way.
If Asplin wins March 14th, I can see Asplin versus Derek Lewis, or I can see Hokett versus Derek Lewis.
I see those 2 options being more realistic than the first option you just
The
gave.
first one I said was just because he's the absolute worst heavyweight on the roster, and they want Derek Lewis to win.
Okay, fair enough.
And then that 4th fight is going to be something like.
To me, though, that's kind of disrespectful to say about an interim heavyweight title challenger or previous interim heavyweight title challenger and previous heavyweight title challenger that they would give him the worst guy on the roster. I don't know if I necessarily buy that.
Did you see his last fight?
I did. Yeah.
He gave up. He fell over. He said, no more. So if they want him on that card, do you want him folding over and just giving up, or do you want to give him a fight that he thinks he could win? If I'm the UFC,
I'd rather see. I'm a purist, dude. I'd rather see the most.
Well, this ain't about purists, Zain Bando. This is about Donald Trump, and this is about Dana White having some bullshit on his front lawn. And what Don wants is a Derek Lewis win.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm just saying. I think Sean Sharaf is a little bit of a stretch.
The more realistic options would be Derek Lewis versus Stephen Asplin or Josh Hokett.
Yes, correct.
And then there would be someone maybe
because if you want to fight to sell, the Hokett fight is the fight. If you want to sell some wild trash talk, if you want to sell one of the craziest press conferences that anybody will ever watch, that's the fight. If you want people to be uncomfortable after 30 minutes, that's the fight. That's the fight you sell. In my humble opinion,
that fight's not happening. It's going to be Asplin if he beats Petrino, because they're not going to listen. I know you're a purist. I know you want it your way. Yada 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 yada. That's not reality, Zan. The reality is Derek Lewis is a stand-up fighter who can't fucking wrestle, and he gives up. He's 44 or 42 years old now. He's dog shit, but he's fun and a good personality. Stephen Asplin, not a power guy, but a stand-up guy who's not going to take him down, and that is a scrap. That's a fight they want in the White House. They don't want Now, I don't want to say they don't want, because maybe they want to push Hoka into being some kind of star, which I don't think he can ever be. But
I don't think
like
he ever will be either. I completely agree.
And I just think, I don't think they will let him just like rape Derek Lewis on the White House. Like, that's just bad vibes all around. And it's one of those weird things where all I'm just trying to say, without you chiming in here, is that the card is not going to be as good as you thought think it's going to be. It's going to have one, maybe two title fights, real title fights. It's going to have one made-up title, maybe, and then it'll have 2 or 3 Americans on the first 3 fights of the main card. I don't know what the prelims are going to look like, but all I'm saying is history repeats itself. If you look at these, like the one spectacle card we've ever had, it was dog shit on paper. I think this card is much more. This card is much more. Hold on. This card is much more for the spectacle of fighting on the White House lawn, showing what's happening, rather than the actual fights.
Okay, so you're not buying any of this McGregor Diaz 3. You don't think that happens or anything like that?
No. How long does it have to be for Conor to be like, I'm coming back? And he never does. Like, it's like Nate Landwehr said, it's like loving your neighborhood hoe. She ain't ever gonna love you back. Like, you have this theory, oh, he's coming back. He ain't never coming back.
Okay, so that actually will lead to a very interesting discussion when we get to the midway point of the show. Speaking of potential biggest fights of the year, this is a fight that people think is going to destroy this card out of the water when it comes to ratings, which I wholeheartedly agree with. It is Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano in a hexagon. It's being promoted by Most Valuable Promotions. That's Nikisa Bedarian and Jake Paul. It's going to be taking place May 16th, Intuit Dome in Los Angeles, the first ever live MMA event on Netflix, and it's headlined by 2 of the biggest pioneers in women's MMA ever. A fight that was supposed to happen 13 years ago is now finally happening. I'll let you go first, because I have no idea what you think of the fight really at all, because I haven't really spoken to you about it. So I will let you have the floor for Rousey versus Carano, and I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
This would have been an awesome fight 13 to 10 years ago, huh?
Yes, correct.
Now we've got 2 40-year-old women who haven't fought in forever, whose skills are not caught up to speed with the women in MMA today. And Ronda retired due to concussions. Like, this just makes no fucking sense. This fight, they're not going to make weight. It's too soon. The fight's going to blow. I'll put every dollar I have on this fight goes over. This goes to a decision because they're just going to clinch fest the whole time. This is going to be terrible. I'm interested to see what they do on the undercard to see if they have some real fights on there. But Ronda Rousey, by the time this fight happens, she's 39 years old. Gina Carano is 43 years old. By the time this fight happens, she'll be 44. The last time Gina Carano fought was, first of all, she has 8 fights. Crazy.
Gina Carano's last fight was in 2009, dude.
Yeah. 17 years ago. 17 years ago. And the last 2 Ronda Rousey fights, sorry, she fought girls who are as good as they need to be today and got her fucking ass whooped. The last time Ronda Rousey won a fight was 11 years ago. Like, this is so dumb. This is the GFL on crack.
Well,
I'm going to
stop you. I'm going to stop you right there, because going into that Holly Holm fight, nobody expected that fight to go the way it did. No one had a single.
Doesn't matter. She got starched, and then the next time she came back, then she avoided media for a year because she can't take criticism. Came back,
agree with. She did.
Got starched in 30 seconds, and then disappeared. She didn't want it. She doesn't want it. She said for 10 years she doesn't want to fight. This whole fight, according to Ronda, is because Gina Carano was depressed and she wanted to give her something to do. Like, what are we doing?
Okay, these are all valid points, so I will give my 2 cents on this. This, to me, and this is no disrespect to either of them. When I when I go into this rant, I'm calling out the promoter here because I think this is mostly the promoter's fault. They want, to me, and this is an old reference, this feels like a Elite XC ploy, and I'm going to explain what that is. When I first started following MMA, Elite XC was a premier promotion that was on the scene for a little bit. It was only a couple years, okay? And if you don't know what Elite XC is, it's the promotion where Kimbo Slice got famous off of it. Are you following me so far?
I'm following you, and I will be following you. I have to go open my door, but I'm still listening.
I understand. So as he does that, I'm going to explain this to you guys for those of you guys who don't know. So they wanted to make a huge fight, a huge fight in their terms between Kimbo Slice and former UFC Hall of Famer Ken Shamrock. Well, the Shamrock fight was canceled hours before it was supposed to happen. For that Elite XC show, it was on CBS, and they brought up a guy from the undercard who was a UFC veteran. His name is Zeth Petrozelli, and there was some shady stuff that happened allegedly before that fight. They wanted to do some things to try to ensure that Kimbo would win on national TV, and Zeth Petrozelli went in and ruined Elite XC's plans.
And not only that, he didn't even. The whole thing was supposedly Seth couldn't take him down. Didn't need to. He knocked him out in 14 seconds.
No, I know. I wasn't fully done. So to tie this back to now 15, 16, 17 years later, my point in saying this is, even though the California State Athletic Commission is hell-bent on saying, oh, we will make this fight happen as long as they pass their medicals, I'm not so sure, given where they're at in their current athletic frames, they will be able to do it. So I'm just going to say this on the record. Do not be surprised if 2 weeks before this event is supposed to happen, this fight, it gets canceled, because who knows? It could be honestly too much of a risk. And with all of those things that are coming out about her saying, meaning Rousey saying that, oh, I have all these issues with concussions and stuff, like that's a really bad sign. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that I don't think this fight happens. I think they have the initial press conference, and it's all fine and dandy for the pomp and circumstance. But until those two weigh in on Friday, May 15th, I am not banking on this fight remotely even happening. And I think Netflix is going to take a huge loss for this fight taking place. And based on who they have on the undercard, I fear that they will have to cancel the entire show, as like they did with that Jake Paul debacle, where they had to cancel the show and move the fight between him and what eventually became the Anthony Joshua fight that was supposed to be the Gervonta Davis fight. So that's the end of my rant on that. Am I excited in a sense that she wants to come back? I mean, I guess if you're of a certain age, that's great. But people have been talking about this on social media. Like, I mean, this is a fight that I'm not particularly interested in. Will I watch the fight? Yeah, I'll watch the fight, but it's like there's no substance to it for me. There's no stakes attached to it, and to me, I think it's about the two names on the poster, if you will, than it is trying to put on the best card possible. Because if they just want to do these gimmicky type fights, meaning MVP, I don't think they're going to last long in the MMA space, because Golden Boy MMA tried the same thing with Chuck and Tito when they only lasted one show. So that's kind of how I feel about that. And I think it's a very, very similar trajectory, if you will.
And I, like you said, I can totally see, because if you think back to Jake Paul was supposed to fight MMA with PFL. Supposed to. And with this fight, I shared a picture here from their first face-off. This fight is supposed to be contracted at 145 pounds. I think Ronda can make the weight. I don't think Gina Carano at 44 years old can make 145 pounds. On the flip of that, like, look how much bigger Gina is.
Oh, Gina's massive.
She's massive. And just the way her body is built, it's very hard to lose weight in some of those places. So I just don't know at 44 years old that she can do it, and especially 17 years outside of competition. Plus, like you said, I can see 2-3 weeks beforehand this fight gets pulled, and they want to keep it going because it's at Intuit Dome, it's on Netflix. Jake Paul steps in against a bum,
whoever it is. They don't even care.
Yeah, a nobody, 0-6, and I think that might end up happening with the card, but I don't know. I think,
Wait. So my question to that would be: do you think they would literally rebrand the thing from an MMA event to a boxing event?
No, I would bet you that Jake Paul would fight a very bad MMA fighter in MMA.
Really? Okay.
Okay. I can see it happening. He's supposedly wanted to do it for a long time. He couldn't do it in PFL because he would have got dog walked. But in his own promotion, they could pick people like he's been boxing that they know he's going to beat.
Right. Exactly.
Like, there's enough regional talent in California who's 0-4, 2-2.
1,000%. They'll
love that opportunity. Headline the Intuit Dome.
Yeah, they'll find a guy that had just fought 3 weeks before on a 559 fight show or one of those other regional California based shows. I'm almost positive.
Or street beefs. Like, it literally could be a guy off the street. Like, if he were to do it, I think he'd have to guarantee victory for himself.
I think so too, which would add a lot more questions about the integrity aspect and so many other things, but who knows? I mean, if the fight happens, great. It's a culmination of it's a culmination of two pioneers in women's MMA. I'll give them that, but it's nothing that makes me want to say like I'm like stoked for anything, and I bet some people are, and you have to remember I was. I watched Ronda's whole run coming up, even going back to Strikeforce and stuff like that. And I think the way she handled leaving the UFC wasn't good. And maybe this is her way of, and I said this on Press Row, which is another show we do on ETV. Maybe this is her way of rewriting a wrong where she didn't know how to handle herself after losing. And this is kind of her calling card to herself. Like, hey, I didn't go out on the best terms. Let's try to fix this. And hopefully that's the case. But dude, Gina Carano, 17 years out of the sport. If she wins, I'm just gonna say this: I will be blown away if he somehow beats her. I will be absolutely stunned.
And my whole thing is like, yes, they're pioneers. Yes, they're huge names. They have a combined 27-year layoff and a combined 3-fight losing streak.
Mm-hmm.
How do you sell that?
But did the 3-fight losing streak even really matter because it was so long ago, though? That'd be my counter argument.
And I could see that, but my counter argument or my counter to that is like, if they both have lost their last fights and they haven't fought for so long, what can we expect in this one?
What can we expect is what we're going to expect
them holding each other against the cage for 5 rounds.
No, what we're going to expect is their current age now of what they can do, and whether that's the worst fight you've ever seen or a sign of a vintage edge. We have no idea. That's what makes the fight somewhat interesting, is we literally don't know what to expect from either of these two when they go in there. We literally have no idea. But I
think we have some idea.
But I will do this for you. If this fight happens and you somehow happen to be home in Illinois that weekend, I will make an appointment for us to watch the absolute clown fest that this is going to be. How about that?
I can make that deal.
I'll give you that.
I can make that deal. That's a deal I can take.
For sure. And speaking of, we have a special guest coming to the program. It is Tom Albano, the original host of the MMA Outsiders. With me, Tom, how are you this afternoon on this fine Thursday in the middle of February?
The man, the myth, the legend is back.
Hi, guys. I'm doing okay. How are you guys?
Good. And the time, couldn't it be any better? Because the next thing we're going to talk about is Conor McGregor's tweet and delete spree. So we need a verdict here, guys. Is he playing with fire or is he legitimate? And I will give it to Tom, considering that Tom just got here about 30 seconds ago. Oh, and then the rest can have the floor afterward, because I'm fascinated to hear what Tom has to say about this, considering that I don't even know what he's going to say about it.
Let's see.
Real.
You're kidding, right? Zain, you know me. You know that I am at the point where it's like, I'll believe it when he's actually making the walk to the octagon. At this point, we have seen too many things fall to actually take into consideration the idea of Conor McGregor actually fighting. Now, is the UFC interested in having Conor McGregor fight? Probably.
Probably, I would say so.
Is it actually going to happen? I don't know. Simply because, and I talked about this a couple of years ago when it was still you and I, and we were in the midst of that first Tough Enough season where we were watching that tough season with McGregor and Chandler. And we talked about it in 2024 as well. The theory that there's got to be something going on between Conor and the UFC, that the UFC wants Conor to sign a multi-fight contract to ensure BKFC, Jake Paul and his boxing, any of them can't get their hands on McGregor for in-combat competition. Would he take a fight with any of those? I don't know, but
I don't know either.
But I don't think the UFC wants to take the chance.
Okay. So if you're saying that they don't want to take the chance, are you saying they don't want to take the chance of giving him up, or they don't want to take the chance of signing him and him not fulfilling his new contract?
Both essentially.
Okay.
They don't want it. That at one point they're tired of the games because, and it goes to something that I kind of mentioned or implied in our appearance on Press Row yesterday, Zain. UFC doesn't need to worry about getting people like Conor McGregor to the levels of the Conor McGregor, John Jones, Ronda Rousey.
They don't. There's more to leverage now with this Paramount deal. Social media is bigger now. Like they don't, like they're more so, to me, this is just from an outsider standpoint, and I don't know anything.
An MMA outsider standpoint.
No, and when I say I literally have no inside information on this, I don't. This is just from an observational standpoint. It seems to me like the bigger focus in today's version of those three letters is literally promoting those three letters on a weekly basis, and that's really about it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I also want to.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong at all in assuming that?
Not at all. Not at all.
And what I want to add quickly too is like the last time we saw Conor McGregor, it was July 10th, 2021.
Which I was there for. That's how long ago it was.
And I just want to ask you this. At that time, I feel like for me and everybody else was like, dang, that's old McGregor now. That's old man McGregor. 5 years have passed. He was only 32 then. He's almost 4. He's 37, going to be 38 now.
And his last win was over 6 years ago.
Like, I think obviously he's always going to be a name. He's somebody that I could see MVP being like, oh, we'll do this instead of Gina Carano, Ronda Rousey type stuff. But it's just like, I think, again, I was telling Zain earlier, Thomas, it's like I feel like history repeats itself in the UFC as it does in all of life. There's a reason we take history class. If I'm just looking at history, Conor McGregor is not reliable. He says everything and does nothing.
Fair enough.
He promises and doesn't deliver. And he's like, I'm showing up, I'm ready. And then he doesn't do it. I think
that's why, Jack, part of me is wondering if he just made this tweet so that way he can try to get, I don't know, like leverage or something if he is talking to the UFC.
Yeah, similarly to when he like fake retired in 2016 and all that. And it could be a similar thing.
But the thing now is just like he could do that then because he was in the prime. He's out of his prime. He changed his body drastically up and down. He shattered his leg. He went on a 3-year coke bender. He tried to become the president of Ireland. Like, he's done all these things that aren't MMA. And if you're at the top of the game, which he was already on the decline, and then you just don't do it for so long, how can the UFC it doesn't even matter the UFC really, but how can any fan be like, oh, he's going to be the McGregor of old? He won't be.
Well, Jack, I would make a comparison. maybe people might say that I'm doing a little bit of an extreme here, but I look at what's going on with Conor McGregor right now from the 2010s from the mid 2010s into the mid 2020s, and I'm seeing parallels between his career and Mike Tyson's in boxing, where Mike Tyson goes through all the legal trouble, and even when he comes back in the 90s, how he loses to Evander Holyfield, has that disqualification loss.
It's almost 100% the same parallel, except we haven't gotten the comeback part.
I was going to say, I think it's an exact parallel with no comeback on the horizon. Like Mike still had.
And to think, even with Mike Tyson, I mean, Conor McGregor has always fought, the toughest of the competition. Mike Tyson, you guys talk about comeback. He loses to Lennox Lewis. I think he gets a win in 03, but then he loses in 04 and then loses to Kevin McBride in 05 to end his career.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen Conor McGregor at that point yet, but man, if he were to come back and do, let's say, freaking bare knuckle boxing or something like that, who's to say we won't see that?
See, I could see him doing well in BKFC. I could see him doing well in Misfit.
If he actually competes, though.
Agreed.
That's the
I
thing.
could see him doing well in a striking sport. But the problem is with that, to me, is almost like McGregor has surpassed so much. It's like, if it's not the UFC and if it's not versus like a current huge boxer, it's too big for him almost. It's like, what is the incentive of him doing it other than he wants to do it? And call me crazy, I don't see him wanting to do bare knuckle.
It's not even that he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't have to.
Exactly.
Once he got that payday against Floyd, he didn't have to do anything.
And that's when everything changed.
Well, if it's true that that's when everything changed, then in your guys' estimation, why do you think the Khabib fight still happened then?
Because it was still, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that was the first fight back to MMA. It was the biggest fight possible. It's literally the biggest fight in MMA history. But if you look at what happened in that fight, Conor didn't do anything. He couldn't do anything. His only win since Floyd Mayweather is Unc Donald Cerrone. The only one. Alex Morono beat Donald Cerrone.
Which means then, gentlemen, we're coming up on a decade since his last meaningful win.
Literally.
Yeah. November of 2016.
And it's just like, the win against Donald's a good win, a good performance. But like I said, Alex Morono beat Donald Cerrone. Jim Miller beat Donald Cerrone. It's like, it doesn't mean anything.
Right. Okay, before we move on from this, I need to put on the alternative timeline hat for a second. Let's hypothetically say in a different world that COVID never happens. Does he eventually return to the UFC in 2020? And does this Poirier rivalry ever reach that, reach that third fight with all that controversy? Or do you think he has a different career if COVID doesn't happen?
No, I kind of feel like we probably would have gone down a similar path, even if COVID didn't happen.
Okay. Interesting. Jack, what do you think?
I don't think really COVID played a role in it because like he didn't fight since 2018. So like I think COVID was probably the thing that brought him back because he was like, dang, we can't do anything. January of 21, it's like, woo, or 20 or whenever it was.
January 21, then he fought in July of 21.
Yeah.
That's when they did the trilogy.
It was like they did the Donald fight and everything happened in that because he was locked down. I know it's the same for me. It meant I wanted to do more. Right. So it's like I think him going stir crazy was the best thing for his career at the time, like to get back in it. But I think now because there's nothing, thank God there's nothing. The world's back, kinda, and it's just like when he has everything available at his fingertips, what is pushing him to be the best fighter anymore? And I don't think it's anything.
Okay,
I agree.
Interesting. Yeah, my final 2 cents before we move on to a couple other things in the final 15 or so minutes of this stream, which, by the way, shout out to the 100+ people who have tuned in. You guys are not going unnoticed, so please keep smashing that, and please be sure to hit that like button. That way you guys know that more streams like this are coming in the pipeline, and shout out to now the 103 people that are tuning in. I guess my final thoughts on this are, I think until we hear something, I think it's going to be the same sort of song and dance where we're going to hear nothing, and then we're going to hear some more of nothing, and it's going to be just him going back to his old ways of just continuously tweeting, trying to be the center of attention, and then it never kind of materializing into anything at all. And certainly, guys, stay tuned because more tweet and deletes are coming, and I can almost guarantee that. So
for sure.
That's what I think. Kind of transitioning into some real news, though. The PFL announced the main and co-main event for the April 11th show at Wintrust Arena. It's gotten some interesting responses, if you will, within the MMA community. Jack, I'll start with you on this. It was a Thursday morning news dump. If I've ever seen one, I woke up to an email that confirmed the news for me. But I will let you start. So
I hate it. Why are we getting these dog shit cards? This is awful. It's terrible. Sergio Pettis is the number one contender. Sure, he should headline. Also, pause. Why is it not a vacant title fight? They have a vacant title. The title is vacant in that division, and Sergio is number one. Lapalus just got a KO. What the fuck are we doing? Side note, I love Mitch McKee. I was at his – what's up, Scum Punch? I was at his 6th fight in LFA. It was great. He has fought nobody, absolutely nobody. This dude sucks. Not sucks. Let me rephrase. That's me. I like Mitch.
Better make me feel funny or else I'll be very frustrated. I honestly think that's most people. That is a take of if ever seen one thing. Thank you. I think you just got us cracked up for the next 15 minutes, and I'm surprised we're still not broken out in laughter. But please, Jack, please continue. That was great.
But no, it's just like Mitch McKee is a great prospect. He's 10-0. He has fought he's fought real competition. He's fought no one that is even considered for that, even PFL level. And all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, here's Sergio Pettis. What the fuck are we doing? And that's the main event. And then the co-main event, don't even get me started on that. I like Julian Newman. They're both Rufus Support guys, sure.
Wait, is it Julian or Jordan?
Or Jordan Newman, same difference. I don't care. And then
I was going to say Julian Newman is a former high school basketball player.
I know, he sucks too. But he's taking on Josh Silveira, who's a cool guy. I like these people. Newman's kind of a weird guy, but I like these people. I like them as people. That fight, guaranteed decision, guaranteed to suck. The main event, Mitch McKee is going to be shooting his fucking ass off for 3 rounds. He can't stand on the feet with Sergio Pettis. So no matter what, we have 2 elite wrestlers from the Midwest in the co-main and main event who are going to try to stink this shit up. And Silveira is not decisionator himself. I know Shea Bowers is going to be on this card as well. Okay. I like her a lot. How does that change shit? Like, this card, unless we get a miracle on a couple of these fights, like, it's not, I might not even go. Like, it's literally like, unless they give me a free ticket, I ain't going. This shit's terrible.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you and say I will be there regardless of who the main event is. I'm just gonna put that out there first. And as a number 2 thing, this is vastly different from your points, which I think for the most part are certainly valid. But I think this is just simply another example, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I just think they want to do things differently, and I think their unconventional methods are not sitting right with certain groups of the MMA community, which I totally understand. But if you want to step up and prove yourself type of main event, Mitch McKee, by some miracle, has a chance to completely change the entire trajectory of his MMA career. I think it's too big of a step up in competition. In terms of the co-main event, I don't know. I think it's a lose-lose situation for both guys. I'm curious to see who's on the rest of the card, but something that I don't think a lot of people are talking about, and I'm sure that Tom can attest to this once I finish in the next 15 seconds.
Yeah, you know the point I want to bring up.
Head to head with UFC 327. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Here's what I'm going to say. And it's very interesting because
I'm definitely not going now.
Well, Zan and Jack kind of know where I sit in this, considering the situation that I'm going through with the organization right now. Here's the thing. When I first woke up and I saw the main event, I just saw the last name McKee, and I thought Sergio Pettis, AJ McKee for the Bantamweight Championship.
That's what I thought too.
And I said, "Oh my God, because that would have been an answer. That would have been a just shot. Okay, say UFC. Oh yeah, here you go. Here's
but AJ could never make bantamweight.
I know, or Sergio AJ McKee featherweight championship or contender fight.
Yeah, whatever they wanted to do.
My point is Sergio Pettis versus AJ McKee would have made more sense with championship implications one way or another. Would have made more sense as a main event. I like McKee, not AJ McKee, the McKee that actually is going to be fighting Sergio Pettis. I like him, but being thrown into a main event with Sergio Pettis in your first MMA fight, like, you better have, that's a lot of pressure. You better bring everything for that main event. And that is actually more of the problem. Like, I understand that they're going through a rebuild period. I want to support the PFL in their rebuild period, that they're trying to sign, up and comers, and they're trying to put some established stars with these up and comers. The thing is, Chicago, I think, is a place, Zan can attest to it, where you need to have some heavy hitters come out.
You do. You need heavy hitters, and you also need Midwest talent that people.
I couldn't resist.
I know, and we haven't brought this out in almost 7 or 8 months, so I'm glad you did. I'm just going to go on my soapbox. You need Midwest talent that will get and I'm just going to say this, and this is no disrespect to my city at all, but based on the people who I talk to, there are more people in the city that are very surfacey MMA consumers as opposed to me. You need something that will get people to say, "Oh, I need to be there and I need to get a ticket," and I just don't know. Which I've explained.
McKee are not the guys.
Well, and it's like they book Vadim Nemkov versus Yoel Romero, or they book, or that was Bellator, but same company, whatever.
By the way, hey, I actually genuinely enjoyed that fight from what I recall, but it certainly didn't make sense for the location.
And then at PFL last time, what was it? Dalton Rasta versus Aaron Jeffrey, and then the
main event, and then it was the two Russian guys in the main event, I think.
Oh, Kurmagomedov versus Umlatov. Andrei Korshkov. Terrible. It was terrible.
It should have been the other way around.
I know.
Agreed. And I'm also just want to add to this as well. I just don't understand the matchmaking. The bantamweight rankings in PFL. I can't find them on here, but I have them pulled up on my phone as a picture.
I was just shocked in the first place that they even implemented rankings.
Me too, but there's a vacant title. Sergio's number 1. Stotts is 2. Lapalus is 3 coming off a KO. Magomedov's 4. Alves is 5. Komedov 6. Kieran Clark 7. Kavalov 8. Lazy Ron, the Cuban guy, 9. And Lewis McGrillen 10. If I'm I just don't understand. You don't take any of the up-and-coming guys from the fucking rankings, and you take a debutant?
Well, it's not even just that. Guys, here are the announced fights right now for UFC 327 in Miami that night.
Okay.
Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira for the flyweight championship. There's no word on if this is going to be a main or a co-main. I'm going to assume a co-main. But
co-main also.
But as you guys mentioned earlier, what the hell is going? Or I don't know if you got. You guys got to it earlier. I think we have no upcoming title fights right now in the UFC other than this. So I don't know what the hell they're doing. But other than that besides the point, here are your other fights that are announced for UFC 327. Reyes versus Walker. Suarez Godinez. Azamat Murzakanov versus Paulo Costa. Cub Swanson versus Nate Landwehr. Kyle Dawkins, Vincente Luque, Kevin Holland, Randy Brown.
Objectively, it's a better card.
Right. Is it the strongest? No. Is it objectively better? Absolutely. And I won't say how I know. I won't confirm, deny, but boys, I've been told, get used to this feeling, because the PFL Now that ESPN has some vacant Saturday nights with the UFC gone, PFL might be inserted into more Saturday nights to go head-to-head with the UFC.
Very
Not the right decision. It's not a right decision.
Which is similar to what Affliction used to do, right?
Mm-hmm. I think, and here's the thing. PFL has a card on the night before, the day before on April 10th, the first PFL Africa card of the season. The smarter thing to do would have been to flip the cards. Have PFL Chicago Friday night, have PFL Africa
during the day on Saturday.
Right. Mm-hmm. Which would lead right into UFC 327.
And I just want to point out as well, and I just want your opinions on this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to share my screen here. These are the first two PFL events that we have this year.
Okay.
We have PFL Dubai, which these are the top 3 fights of the card.
Okay.
Yep.
All on paper, very fun fights. Next, we've got PFL Pittsburgh, which in my opinion is a great card.
It's a really good card.
We got Eblin versus Brian Battle, Dalton Rasa versus Impa, Ariana Lipsky versus Inaba. We've got Alexi Pregande versus Julio Arce, Lazaro Dayron versus Jacob Thrall.
And technically, this is going up against a UFC card too, is it not?
Yeah, it's going up against the London card, I think, right?
This one is going to be on. Yep.
Well, actually, if it's in London, then they may actually have just slight crossover, not a lot.
No, London's March 21st. The 28th is Seattle.
Oh God! So yeah, no, that's going to be a head-to-head.
And
those are two solid cards to watch at the same time, though. No,
I agree, but I'm just saying, look at the prelims of this card: Rodriguez versus Kirkui, Bryce Meredith Cartwright, Schultz versus Kazuba, Watley versus Dakota Bush. All of these fights are legit fights. And then you look at R2, the co-main and main event, and they're fucking prelims on the other card. Like, I just don't understand what they're thinking.
Actually,
especially a big market.
Actually, Jack, I think you missed one. What about Madrid on the week before?
Oh, you're so right. You're so right. And even that card's banging.
Vancinas Edwards,
AJ McKee Borix, Alex Shabley versus Duque, Franco Tenaglia, former BKFC champ versus the French guy, Linton Vassell versus Golstov 2. Like, there are still great fights on this card. Are the prelims a little worse? Yeah, but they're all Spanish dudes, so it's whatever. But it's just like
it's appealing to the home nation.
Yeah, but the main card is awesome. The main card, the co-main event should be our main event. Like, I just don't get it. But we need an X-rated Invicta Fight League. That's crazy. But no, it's just like, it's frustrating, man. It's like we get no events, and then we finally get one, and it's two dudes from Milwaukee who I like, who should be opening a main card rather than headlining the event. It drives me nuts.
And for PFL, I think my concern more or less, I know you guys have your own takes on it because this is your place, but I love PFL. I want to see PFL succeed because if we don't have a legit number 2, oh my God, the MMA world is just going to feel...
It's brutal for our sport. It's right. Brutal for our sport.
Things are brutal now. There's definitely... We've talked about it, Zain, in the past. There is definitely a little bit of a recession right now in the hopes that this Paramount deal might be elevating us out of that recession.
And that's partially one of the reasons why I'm going, because number 1, hashtag support the sport, and number 2, you sometimes need to watch number 2 because even though number 1 is light years above, number 1 is an every week occurrence, and number 2 is trying to get to the head, but they're sort of stagnant in what their true identity is going to be. And I just think some things are important, and also some things are also left unsaid. But those are the 2 things that I can really.
I guess my only concern, and I say this to PFL, I say this with love, and as somebody who has written for them with love, going up against the UFC is on Saturday nights and doing it multiple times a year is going to be a drastic mistake.
I was just gonna say, it's like if you're watching number 2, you're watching it because it's on Friday night.
I agree.
If PFL, I loved Bellator, I love PFL.
And I loved how Bellator occasionally did it, but focused more on Friday nights.
Agreed. But my problem with both of them, but way more so with PFL than Bellator, it literally seems like they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. And
I'm going to make a football reference, so sorry to those who are international viewers and don't care for American football or don't watch American football.
Yeah.
And Zan would I don't know. Jack, I don't know how much of it you watch, but Zan would probably know that this is like a few years ago, not John Gettleman, when he was with the Giants, saying, we can win and rebuild at the same time. No, you can't.
It's like you got to pick a lane, and they're refusing to pick a lane. It almost feels like right now with the CEO change to John Martin is known for creating fire sales, essentially, and getting the most worth out of a thing in a short period of time. And my fear of him taking over is he's just going to sell. They're going to sell it, and it's going to be something else again. And it's going to be some Saudi league, or it's going to be some like foreign league that's never here. It's a number 2. It's just, we know they'll never be number 1, but could we just have a solid, smart number 2? And like the actual fights at PFL are good. I like the smart cage. I love the spectators.
It almost makes people miss the WEC. I'm pretty sure.
It's just, it's crazy. It literally feels like watching
like a number 2 and it was in its heyday. And I'm sure Tom can attest, because Tom was around when the WEC was in its heyday. And if you remember, Tom, they owned Wednesday and Thursday nights, where you knew that if it was a major Wednesday or Thursday night preceding UFC, it was always going to be a major WEC show, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And my fear is that PFL is going to be reduced so much. And number 1, I don't see ESPN giving them a new deal at the end of the contract.
I don't think so either.
I think at that point
I think they'll be going fully to Vice if the international shows were on Vice. I think Vice will pick up the whole library, is my guess. That's what I think.
Well, it better be Vice or a
it's got to be somebody, or they're shit out of luck.
Or a renewed NBCSN, because if all the events are going to be streamed on their app starting in 2027, it won't be long before the UFC purchases them.
And the problem with that is then, like, who's next? There's one, the least organized promotion on earth. Like,
no, the next biggest would be the LFA, the minor league UFC.
Yeah, like, it's ridiculous.
That's why I'm actually
praying.
But that's why I'm praying for this. As much as, it's a risk, and Rousey versus Carano, whatever. And it kind of implied it yesterday on Press Row with you, Zan. We need, and it's taken me a lot to say this because I'm not a fan of the guy. We need Paul and MVP Promotions and MVP MMA to succeed, because then it's another alternative.
Well,
I hate that you're right. Like, they need to fucking nail this card. They need to have an awesome undercard. They have to have awesome. It might be 6 fights. They have to have an awesome 5 fights on this card.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know who it can be, but I would look at that GFL roster and mix and match the best ones I can do. But I just don't know what to do there. Like, it's a tough situation.
Well said. With about 10 minutes to go, we're going to move into some previews now. Let's start, though, with the elephant in the room. What did we think of Sean Strickland's comments over the last few days?
Typical Sean Strickland, but I'm sorry. Absolutely not. And it's disgusting. But the UFC is not going to do anything. So I'm going to have to put the journalist bias aside. What you have to do if you hate this, you hope Fluffy Hernandez whoops his ass on Saturday night.
Jack, what do you think of it?
Sorry to twist your buttons, Tom, but I just don't care. We know what we're getting with Strickland every time he fights. So
Jack, that's my point. What he says is absolutely disgusting, but the UFC isn't going to do anything. So I said, if you hate this, then what you got to hope is Fluffy puts such a whooping on him that.
I agree. I just don't think that happens. Like, my problem is just like Strickland. It's just a mess. Because, like, in person, he's a lovely guy. And then every time he gets in front of a camera, he goes absolutely Looney Tunes. And it's just like, what the fuck are you saying, man? He's calling Bad Bunny an F slur. He's saying he wants to get
which is just way too far, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Or Bryce Mitchell, same deal. Like, there's all sorts of people doing crazy stuff. And I think that's part of the great thing about the sport, and I think it's one of the terrible things about the sport. It's just like, you can say whatever you want because you're literally about to have a fist fight, and you could hope you lose, but it's the same thing as like everybody freaking out on Bryce Mitchell, then Gene Silva finishes him, and then everybody forgets. They're like, oh my God, Gene Silva's the best.
But Jack, there's a difference. I think Bryce Mitchell's stock has actually taken such a hit after everything that he's been through, between the comments and then getting knocked out by Josh Emmett and then getting knocked out by John Silva.
I think it's more so about the performances than what he did, honestly.
Oh no, I'm not saying you're wrong there. I'm saying, but everything combined has led to, it's one thing if he's winning and becoming a drastic, top level heel, to borrow a pro wrestling term, in the UFC. But when you're not winning, I mean, look at Colby Covington saying all the crap that he did. And
he's somehow still ranked, yet he's super inactive.
Tied for 14th.
But he sucks. But you look at his
it's true, he does.
He sucks.
It's true, he does. It's true.
It's just one of those things where it's just like the UFC wants him to be crazy, even though they say they don't. Because you look at Twitter right now, millions and millions.
Here's the problem. But Jack, here's the problem. All this talk. What's the track record of all these talkers?
They all lose. Eventually, they lose.
See, I was gonna say, with everybody we've said, that they have accomplished one of the highest goals in MMA. It's like when you reach the top, and I don't like defending these guys, but it's just like Sean Strickland, former undisputed champion. Colby Covington, former interim champion. Bryce Mitchell, former top 10 featherweight. It's like, if you're talking your shit and you're winning, the UFC doesn't care. I don't care. Whatever.
The problem is, Jack. The problem is that was then. They're not now.
Are they? Like they're
happening.
Mitchell's off a win. Strickland's off a win.
I still need to see more from Mitchell.
Strickland's not off a win, but like
Strickland's not off a win now.
But he's off a title fight, and Colby Covington. Dog shit. I hate him, but it's just like it. As bad as this may sound, I just don't care. It's typical. There's 1,500 athletes on the roster. 10 of them are dickheads. Whatever. It's the same thing as like, do you condone what he says?
No.
But that's what I'm saying. Hold on, let me finish. Or do you dislike Strickland more than you dislike Cedric Dumas? Do you dislike Strickland more than you dislike John Jones, who's an actual fucking criminal? Like, those are the things where I'm like, it's a give and take. Like, Dumas has been arrested 16 times. John Jones beats his fucking wife. Like, these things, allegedly. It's just like that stuff to me is much more actions speak louder than words. I don't care what these guys say.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have an opinion of it either, other than the fact that nothing is really surprising to me anymore with him.
No.
It's obviously going viral for the wrong reasons. Obviously, a bunch of major outlets have tried to get a statement out of Paramount, which they won't get, of course. And yeah, I mean, I think if you want to talk about people tuning into this main event for one reason or another, I think you just got the outcome you wanted, because if they wanted eyeballs, they certainly got him based on what he said at his media day. So speaking of, let's get into the card here very, very quickly because we're running over time. UFC Houston this Saturday. It's the first UFC event back after a week off. Main event, as we just alluded to, is Sean Strickland versus Anthony Hernandez. Jack, would you be happy to pull the card up?
Already on it.
So,
all right.
Jack, while you're doing that, here's my problem. I guess are we going right to the main?
Yeah. And we can go in which order you want, and then we can give our picks, and then we'll be able to move on to the
here's my problem. It kind of connects to the last topic too, which is why I kind of want to use it as like a bridge. with Sean Strickland. And this is something that, Zan, you and I have talked about previously when we were hosting this show. I look at Sean Strickland's track record. I'm not impressed. Look at these wins. Paulo Costa. I'm just starting to take Paulo Costa somewhat seriously as a fighter again after what he did throughout the start of the 2020s. Israel Adesanya. Yeah, that's a good win. That's the upset of one of the greatest upsets.
Right. That was when he was still a champion too.
But think about his run before that fight.
Okay.
Abus Magomedov, who
dominated him.
And Dana claimed nobody wanted to fight Abus Magomedov. That was laughable. Took
it on like 2 weeks' notice and dominated him. Or was that Imavov?
Well, Nasruddin Imavov, I mean, look.
No. The fight that was 2 weeks' notice was a boost, I'm pretty sure.
Was a boost, yeah. But the win before that was Nasruddin Imavov, and that was before Imavov went on the run that he's on right now. Cannonier, split decision, debatable. Alex Pereira.
Anybody who watched that fight, Cannonier did not win that fight.
Alex Pereira, I have no idea what the hell Strickland was doing in that fight. Idiotic. Hermanson, split decision. But Uriah Hall, Jocko, I mean, he has some
His record may not impress you. His only true 2 losses in the last 6 years are Alex Pereira and DDP one time. Because that first one, coin flip, either one of them could have won. He KO'd Brendan Allen, beat Jocko, beat Uriah Hall, beat Jack Hermanson, lost to Pereira, beat Jared Cannonier, beat Nasruddin Imavov, finished Abus Magomedov.
But those guys don't scream top-level competition to me.
Nasruddin Imavov is the number 1 contender. When he beat Jared Cannonier, he was top 5. When he beat Jack Hermanson, he was top 10. When he beat Uriah Hall, he was top 15. He arguably beat Dricus. He beat Paulo Costa, who was top 7 at the time. Like, even though it might not scream to you, middleweight's dog shit. So it's just like he's beating the best of the rest.
Fair enough. I just think Anthony Hernandez.
If you're not impressed with Dricus's resume, how are you impressed with Fluffy's? With his best wins being Roman Dolidze, Brendan Allen, Michelle Pereira.
I think there's more stock and more upside to Fluffy than there is to Strickland.
Interesting. I'm picking Strickland to win. I want Fluffy to win.
I am picking Strickland as well.
I just think
agree with the two of you on going Fluffy.
The competition that Fluffy has faced. Again, I just want to go through this quickly. Rodolfo Vieira, new to MMA, finished him as like a massive underdog. Then decision with Jock Fremd. Guess what? He's in the PFL now. Finished Marc-Andre Barrio. Guess what? He's bottom 40. Beats Edmund Shabazian. Guess what? He's bottom 40. Beats Roman Kopylov. Okay, top 20 guy. Beats Michelle Pereira. Not in the top 25. Beats Brendan Allen. That's a great win. I'm high on BA. Then he beats Roman Dolidze, who shouldn't be ranked. So it's just like, I don't know.
You have to admit that the win over Dolidze, the way that he did it
was dominant. It was awesome. It's one of my favorite performances of last year.
So I think if he wins against Strickland, you combine that with the Dolidze, whatever you think about Dolidze, I think that smells potential new rising star. At
100%. Because it would be the biggest win name-wise of his career if he were to beat Strickland.
By a mile. My biggest problem with Fluffy is that a middleweight has never had to win more than 8 fights to get a title shot. This is going to be Fluffy's 9th. Anytime there's some cursed shit like that, like Kamaru Usman tying GSP's title record, or Izzy, or anything like that, oh, he's going to be the GOAT if he wins this. Marab, they lose. So
here's the problem with this fight. I don't see Fluffy or Strickland beating Hamzat. I'm sorry,
Same.
I don't.
I don't either. Well, that's assuming that Hamzat still stays at middleweight, though.
True.
Well, the UFC, playing on something that Jack said, if you're going to that point, the UFC better hope he stays at middleweight.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the top 5 right now is what? Strickland, BA, RDR, Kaio, Fluffy, and Hamzat and DDP. Like, Ooh, this is the worst top 7 in any division of the UFC right now. Besides heavyweight. God forbid I forget heavyweight.
Right. So 2 out of 3, we me and Jack like Strickland and you like Fluffy. We haven't done methods yet. Jack, how do you see Strickland beating Hernandez Saturday night at Toyota Center?
Is it a question? 48-47 decision, baby. The classic.
I will agree with you on. I think this one's going to distance.
See, I disagree with both of you. I think Strickland gets a late stoppage.
That would be crazy.
I think he gets a late stoppage. I think Hernandez gets tired in the middle of round 3 and gets finished with his hands down in round 4 against the fence. And it's one of those where people are going to be like, okay, let's wait for the post-fight interview. And I'm just going to say this now. It's going to be the cringiest, most viral post-fight interview we have seen in the last 10 years. I'm going to say it's going to be the number 1 most talked about thing on Sunday morning across every single social media platform you could possibly think of.
By the way, Zain, that's a bold take because not the post-fight comments, but saying that he's going to finish. Abbas is the only one that he's finished in the last 5 years. Outside of that fight, you'd have to go back to 2020 for Strickland's last finish.
Hey, with how unpredictable the sport is these days, I gotta shoot my shot where it's due, and I think that's where it is. And we'll see though. It should be interesting. Any other fights that jump out before we move on?
There's a couple here. I want to go over first of all, Jacoby Smith versus Josiah Harrell.
I'm excited for that. Jacoby Smith is a beast.
Jacoby Smith is the best welterweight you've never heard of, and Josiah Harrell has one of the best stories in sports, and he's fucking awesome. I think Smith is going to win, but I think this is going to be a very competitive fight.
Underrated fight of the night nominee.
For sure. I think Zach Reese versus Michelle is either going to be an awesome round 1 finish or like the worst decision you've ever seen. Chidi versus Carlos Leal, kind of same deal, round 1 or bust. And then this one right here, John Paul versus Phil Rowe. I think Jean Paul is capable of being a top 10 welterweight in the UFC. And this is his first step to getting towards that.
This fight, especially considering Rowe's recent track record, this fight smells like Rowe being fed to an up-and-comer.
Yeah, and I was going to say this fight also smells like if Rowe loses, he's probably done.
Yeah,
correct.
I'll add on some thoughts. Jeff Neal, Euros Medic. Interesting. I think this is going to be a big test for Medic to see if he truly can compete with some of the better ranked guys at welterweight. Why the hell are we having Sergey Spivak versus Ante D'Elia? Seriously, why the hell are we having this fight? Heavyweight is freaking cursed.
Yeah, it's just a cursed heavyweight match. I'm excited, though. I was confused by the Medic matchup with Jeff Neal, and it's because reportedly by Crazy Kev, what a guy. Supposedly the UFC is going to Serbia, so who knows?
Dan Ige taking on Costa. Man, you gotta hope for Ige that he ends up winning this fight, because if he doesn't, he's an entertaining guy, but man, that's gonna be rough for him to have lost 4 or 5.
Right.
And I think like that Pitbull loss just is like anybody top 20 he loses to, anybody below that he beats, and I think Melky's top 20.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. Any final thoughts before we move on to some boxing to close out the show? And also, be sure to stay tuned. We will have all of our picks out on Saturday. And actually, we're going to be able to bring in Tom as picker. Tom, are you excited to join us for this one-off edition for UFC Houston?
Absolutely. Good to be back with it.
Yeah, sounds good. And just one final note before we move on from UFC Houston. Going into this card, I am 23-14, while Jack is sitting at 29-8. I went 9-4 on UFC Vegas 113, while Jack finished 11-2. So overall, we did really, really well on UFC Vegas 113 by some miracle, which, given our luck, that means that we will be sub 500 or better on UFC Houston, because that's how the UFC always works. So, speaking of fights, but we're going to a different discipline here. A few more topics to get to in rapid fire fashion in the next 3 to 5 minutes to wrap up. On the same night, we have Mario Barrios taking on Ryan Garcia on DAZN. This will precede UFC. I think it's a little bit earlier in the evening, only on DAZN. What are your guys' quick picks for this one? I think Mario Barrios beats Ryan Garcia. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna take Ryan Garcia for the vibes.
Okay.
Wait, what do you mean for the vibes?
I want to see him go schizo again. So if he wins, I think we get another fun pre-fight with Ryan Garcia.
You don't think he won't go schizo again if he loses?
I mean, shit. If he gets knocked out, he might actually go schizo. So I don't know. I just want it to be a fun, competitive boxing fight. Like so many that suck. Let this one just be good, please.
Tom, who you got? You got Barrios like me?
I'm the tiebreaker?
Yeah.
I'm going Barrios.
Okay.
I think, look, I know Ryan Garcia. I know Mario Barrios just went the distance with Manny Pacquiao to a draw, and people can point it out and say, well, why the hell is this a thing? Because, I mean, why the hell would you pick him considering that? But Manny Pacquiao, even at his age, even at advanced age, was still winning and winning. And he's one of, if not the GOAT of boxing. So, and Ryan Garcia is coming off a loss, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he lost to Rolly Romero.
He is, yep. Which I had a crazy reaction video about because I couldn't believe it.
So, if Ryan Garcia is going to be a champion, I need to see more than the way that he fought against Rolly. So I'm going to go with Barrios.
All right, and then the final topic of the show, which thank you for bearing with us. We've gone a little bit longer than anticipated, so thank you again for adjusting on the fly. For those of you who are still watching, the 122 loyal viewers who have tuned in the entire time, we greatly appreciate you. Final topic, because I had to throw this in there. Eddie Hearn clapping back like Dana White. Dana White said some questionable things about Eddie Hearn and the way that Matchroom is done, and that he was basically helped out by his dad. Well, of course, Eddie Hearn had the unbelievably perfect counter to it, where basically the Fertittas were hand holders, and now Dana's new dad, quote unquote, is Turkey Al-Sheikh. I think this rivalry is getting really, really funny and really, really interesting. What do you guys think?
And that's funny because Dana White and Eddie Hearn, didn't they used to coexist peacefully?
Yeah.
So it's funny to see. And honestly, Eddie Hearn is correct. Eddie Hearn's correct. Dana White didn't do everything by himself. He had the Fertittas who had the money, and then he's got TKO. He's got Turkey Al-Sheikh. I think, and the thing is, TKO, I want to believe in this promotion. I want to see it be different and everything. But, those first three cards don't have it. It doesn't have the names, of course, that the rest of the boxing world has.
Right.
I think the pause on it, though, is Eddie Hearn is literally nepotism definition. He's made zero of his own dollars, zero anything that he's built on his own. He walked into his daddy's company and took over.
Jack, I agree, but I don't think it was fair for Dana to take the shot when he's had financial backers helping him as well.
I think, listen, I just like a good rivalry in between promoters like De La Hoya and Dana, and now Eddie Hearn. But I just think from everybody, it's kind of hypocritical. It's like,
yes,
it's like, okay, Oscar's making fun of Dana when he's dressing up in dresses and getting pegged and doing cocaine and has ab implants, and then Dana's making fun of Eddie because Eddie's a nepo baby and hasn't earned anything he's ever done. And then they're making fun of Dana because he's just the face of the UFC and hasn't done shit. It's just like a triangle of ass.
Yeah, exactly. And I would be remiss if we didn't end this, because it's in the title, because we haven't spoken about this. 30 seconds to a minute. Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson. Do we care? Do we not care? Are we watching it? Or
terrible? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
I have no idea why this fight is happening. All I know is my former employer at Fight Sports is the one who's producing this, and I don't know how to feel about that.
I think it's. I can tell you exactly what it's going to be. Tyson stalking Mayweather the whole fight, just walking,
and then Mayweather giving a hug the whole
going,
fight.
That's the whole fight in a nutshell. That you don't even have to watch it. I did it for you.
Yeah, you probably don't have to watch it. That's for sure. But that's going to do it, though, for another edition of the MMA Outsiders. Thank you so much to Tom Albano for coming in, and I would be remiss if I didn't pop this up. Tom Albano, senior writer for MMA News and an MMA contributor for Deadspin. Tom, anything exciting coming up in the pipeline in your world of things? We kind of all do different things in this industry. So I will let you have the final floor before we move into the outro and all that good stuff.
I mean, I'll be covering UFC Houston this weekend, and then it's going to be interesting to be trying to cover the UFC and PFL stuff simultaneously.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. And you're not, I assume you don't want to tease any of your best bets for UFC Houston, or will
not yet, but not yet. But keep an eye out on Deadspin either Friday night or at some point early Saturday for my weekly. Well, this week it wasn't a thing because obviously there wasn't a UFC this past weekend, but near weekly best bets picks prior to the UFC card.
Sounds good. You're always a workaholic. I'm somehow always a workaholic when it comes to the writing front. So that makes two of us. We're both going to be busy this weekend, of course, with our own responsibilities as per usual. And Jack, you have one more thing you want to show?
I do. I just want to show a little funny tidbit at the end here. This was a Jeff Molina post. If you're part of the MMA world, you know what happened today. We're not going to talk about it, but feel like we might as well throw the joke in there. We've been caught, mate, from Jeff Molina.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know about the current Dan Hooker situation, a simple Google search will tell you everything you need to know because it's a little bit disturbing, but that is a perfect.
It's a little bit. It's above PG-13, which we try to keep our show. Besides my potty mouth, so
yeah, that's well said. So for everybody here at the Empty the Bench podcast number, this has been episode 157 of the MMA Outsiders. We will be back next week to recap UFC Houston and preview UFC Mexico City, which I think people still have a lot of questions about. And Jack, is there anything else you'd like to tease before we get out of here?
Yeah, Scum Punch. You got to empty the lint every time you do the dryer, baby, or that shit's going to light on fire or not dry.
Yeah, and either way, well, I mean, I guess, let's just say this. His question was very, very unrelated to MMA. So I'll leave it. So
I
I'll
had to
leave
wait
it
till
at
the end of the show before we answered that one.
Yeah, for sure. So again, for everybody at the ETV Network, this has been episode 157. He's Jack Golden. Jack, you didn't answer my final question. Anything else you want to plug for what next week's episode could look like? Is there going to be any craziness? Is there going to be any madness? What do we got?
Listen, I think nothing for next week's episode, but as we get into March, I have potentially someone I haven't even talked to you about yet, but coming on helping us talk about an event. And,
okay.
Yeah, someone hopefully you all like.
Okay, so very much looking forward to that. Teasing so much more. Yeah, thanks again for tuning in, everyone. We hope you have a great rest of your week. Enjoy the double batch of fights this weekend if you care about both boxing and UFC. And we will see you all next Thursday. Have a good one, everyone. Didn't mean to do that. Here we go. So,
Zain Bando disappeared.